Good evening. This is the King of All Medium, and I thank you for joining me for podcast number 40. Tonight we'll talk about the King of All Medium's trip to the East Village in New York. But first, 4 new finds, okay? So I listened to the headphones. You Never Give Me Your Money on Abbey Road for the Beatles, and my recording, on-air recording, which might not be too good, of You Never Give Me Your Money of the YouTube, and I listened to the on-air recording, and the the YouTube sounded better, so I wanted to get a better feel for it, so I had to buy the old-fashioned headphones. And couldn't really find one, so I bought one. Actually brand new. They're still in their thing, and they were from 1997. So they come with a jack. See this little gold-plated jack. So I don't know if I'll do it tonight. We'll see what happens, and maybe we'll do it tomorrow. So the lab tech, I don't know how good they are. So unfortunately, the connectors are different. So I have Apple headphones for my iPhone, so we'll take a look at that. Okay, let's see what else. The King got a new pair of speakers. My friend raved about these Klipsch speakers, and I didn't get the ones as good as his. They were only $97. They're the R41M model. I found out that they were only rated for 50 watts. However, my receiver, I do believe, is rated for 57 watts. I don't think it'll cause a problem. His speakers he gave me were rated for 100 watts. I haven't noticed much of a difference, although, I might... I noticed one song. They're supposedly their reputation is good on the highs, and I noticed one song. The cymbals were very good. I like nice cymbals. So I noticed that the cymbals were very, very good. Okay, let's go through 2 albums. By the way, I went to Academy Records, and very good place. Highly recommended if you're living in the New York City metropolitan area. Some excellent prices on used records. This one was from, by the way, it's located on 415 East 12th Street. Okay, and I got this Genesis Trick of the Tail, Tail, and this is the first one Genesis album where Phil Collins took over as the lead vocalist. Okay, so I've never been a big fan of prog rock. A couple of if you consider King Crimson, of course, their first album I thought was excellent. ELO, certain songs I like. Pink Floyd I never thought was that great. I don't know what the big hub is over them. So I took a listen to this, and it was okay the first listen, but I think I'm more of a fan of the 3-minute rock opus, because I was not, it's okay. I'd definitely give it a second listen. Maybe I'm missing something. There was nothing that stood out that was that great, and so there was no, none of the tracks were memorable. Dance on a Volcano, Entangled, Squonk, Mad, Man Moon, Robbery, Assassinate a Baker in a Battery. Robbery, Assault and Battery, Ripples, A Trick of the Tail, a title track, and Los Endos. So there was nothing on this album that really stood out. I said, wow, that's a great song. I want to listen to that again, but I will give it a second listen, of course, because I want to... you always should give something a second listen, and that got such high ratings, and I was meh, but again, always good to get, but to me, like, an album should kind of stand out a little bit. You should hear 1 or 2 tracks, like, wow, that's pretty good. I really want to hear that again. So that's not good. Okay, another record I got, Buddy Holly Lives. Okay, so Buddy Holly, of course, you know the story. 1935, I believe, to 1957, died in a plane crash at 21 or 22, I don't know. And you know, in 1977, I became first aware of Buddy Holly when I was 12 years old, when when the Buddy Holly story became a movie, and Buddy Holly was in that, you know, was played by Gary Busey, who was a psychopath, of course, and so what a loss. You know, you listen to these songs, they're way ahead of their time, and you know, true king of rock and roll. I don't know. I mean, Elvis Presley. Sorry, this guy was a true king of rock and roll. And I was thinking, what if he lived? You know, he would have been 32 in 1967, psychedelic, he would grow his hair out, you know, he'd played at Woodstock. You know, what would have happened if this guy would have lived, you know? Just taking the bus, damn it. Take the bus, buddy. What a tragedy. I mean, my goodness. So what's on this? There are 20 songs, and That'll Be the Day, of course, was covered by Linda Ronstadt. You know, but in terms of writing credits, in this one, Buddy, a lot of times, I don't know, I'd have to look this up. The first one, Allison Holly Petty. Norman Petty was his producer, and I think a lot of times the producer would take credits on the thing. Allison was one of the Crickets. Peggy Sue, of course, great song. Words of Love was covered by the Beatles, which that song he gets sole credit. Every Day, Hardin and Petty, of course. His full name was Charles Hardin Holly, Buddy Holly, right? Not Fade Away, great song, covered by the Stone. Every Day, Hardin, Petty. Oh Boy, Petty, West Tillman. So he didn't write that. Another great song. Maybe, Baby, I'll Have You. Petty, Holly. And it shows you don't have to write a 10-minute song. You know, just a little 2-3 minute song is all you need. And where did we lose it? You know, and I hear these groups like Genesis and Pink Floyd, and I'm like, you're going wrong, man. You just write a 2.5 minute song, and it sounds good. And you know, and you look at society too, and you just hear this, you know, the gentleness and the, you know, and you know, it's just amazing how society has changed. 64 years ago, whatever, 65 years ago. And it's just amazing just hear how horrible people are. You know, this is Buddy Holly singing these Peggy Sue or whatever, I Want You. And now it's become a rape culture, you know? It's like, okay, Oh Boy, Maybe Baby, Listen to Me is a good song, Hardin and Petty. Again, he goes by his middle name, Charles Hardin Hall, I guess is his mother's name. Heartbeat, Montgomery and Petty. He didn't write that. Great song, of course. And Get Over is a good song. Side 2, It Doesn't Matter Anymore. That was actually, I don't know why they put covers on this, considering he probably had, I mean, I never went over secondary material. It Doesn't Matter Anymore was a Paul Anka song. It's So Easy. I think Linda Ronstadt did that too. That's a Holland Petty. Well, alright, that was covered by Blind Faith. Rayvon, he didn't write that. West Tillman, Petty, great song. Raining in My Heart, B and F Bryan, I don't know who that is. Not a great, I mean, that's, you know, one of the weaker tracks, and again, they should, you know, even if it wasn't such a good song, I'd rather have only his, you know, only songs that he wrote, or let's say Norman Petty, you know. True Love Ways is a, you know, has a little orchestration, one of his later songs. Petty and Holly. Peggy Sue Got Married, follow up to Peggy Sue. That is written solely by Buddy Holly. Bo Diddley, I'm surprised he did that. I never knew he did that, which was written by Elias McDaniel, who's Bo Diddley. Again, I don't understand that. Why don't they just put it? I'm sure he had more songs than these. I'm sure he had more than, you know, 15 songs, you know. And Brown High Handsome Man, of course, a great song by Chuck Berry. Again, why put that on when I'm sure he had some more songs? And finally, Wishing is a good song, not a great song. Holly and Montgomery. So, again, definitely worth it. Paid $10. Unbelievably great album. And, you know, I don't understand music just went, you know, the Beatles kind of follow, you know, such an influence on the Beatles, the Rolling Stones, and then, you know, rock went astray, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, maybe 4 minutes, but then, you know, again, if you have a great song, you know, maybe like Stairway to Heaven or whatever, you know, but the John Fogerty, you know, the CCR, they, you know, that's the type of thing. The Hollies even named themselves after Buddy Holly, so you could see where music has gone wrong, it's gone astray. Little 2-3 minute pop song, you know, you know, it's really, you know, really is, you know, I think again, sometimes you could extend it if you have some musical, but these groups like Rush, and they go a little too far, you know, trying to show off their talent. But I think you know, if some of you, especially the younger generation, you know, you're into Rush and Metallica, you need to go back and listen to this Buddy Holly. He was an incredible artist, you know, and just writing 2-3 minute songs that just made a lot of sense, you know. And it's not about some, you know, fantasy thing, you know, it's just about everyday life, you know, writing about everyday life, you know, what's going on with you, you know, what's going on, what are you thinking today, what is it, you know, what's going on, what are your troubles, you know, what are you happy about, you know, that's a song. You know. Okay, so let me tell you about Sunday, which was April 5th. So it was yesterday, April 4th. And so, you know, I was sitting around. I had gone to the record store in Astoria, and I pretty much junked that out. You know, there's pretty much nothing left there. And so I said, what am I going to do today? I was kind of bored, so I looked on my iPhone, and I saw there was a record store, and you know, so looking at, so I saw Academy Records, and it was on 415 East 12th Street. So I said to myself, oh, let me not bring my phone, you know, because, you know, who knows what happens. Someone could steal it from me, I could lose it, you know, everything's on my phone, I take my videos with it, so I didn't take it, which is, you know, probably a good one, probably good, you know, more than likely not lost it, but, so I go down to Subway without incident, you know. It's always good when you go to Subway without incident, you know. It's transfer. I took the R train to the 4 and 5 train. I don't know which one, 4 or 5. I don't know which 4 or 5 would have knows. So I got off at the 14th Street and I walked to 12th Street. And it's quite a big, you know, nice walk. Because you go to First Avenue, and then it becomes what's cool. I don't know if some of you don't live in New York. It's called the Alphabet City, Avenue A, Avenue B, Avenue C, and I think at some point there's actually an Avenue D, and not the nicest area, although it's gentrified these days. And you know, you see all types of people. You see rich, privileged white kids, you know, 18, sure, a kid wearing a preppy, wearing a brown shirt, and you see homeless people muttering to themselves. You see murals for George Floyd, like such a wonderful guy, you know. He's really a POS, George Floyd, and I don't get this, you know. So I get there. So first I got to wait online, which kind of pissed off. They only let 4 people in at a time, so I wait online. I actually got they had some records out, so I got a Box Tops Greatest Hits. I don't know if they had any great, you know, how many great hits they have, but I know there's 2 great songs, The Letter and Cry Like a Baby, but someone want to listen to it, it's only $2. So I go in, and of course, it's really, the prices are actually so much better. I picked that up for $10, and I picked the Genesis up, I think, for $6. So I bought a bunch of other albums, and a lot of Monkey albums, actually. And you know, I think I have every Monkees album now from their career proper, but more of the Monkees is not in good shape. So, yeah, I had a nice chat with the guy at the counter, and you know, it was a very nice experience. Now, on the way, I saw a sign about Kava Lounge. You know, as a person in recovery, an ex-drinker, I've always thought, hey, maybe I'll try this Kava. You know, and people, you know, talk about it all the time. It's a Polynesian drink. It's supposed to make you relax. So I read it. It said 45. First Avenue, what I thought. So after I left, I was thinking of going home, but I had to take a whiz. You know, I have a prostate issue. You know, you get to be 56 years old, you tend to get those things. So I walked down First Avenue, and I got to 45 First Avenue, And what happened was, I said to the guy, it didn't look like a Kava place. It was a hookah lounge, and he's hookah or whatever it is. He said, no, 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 this has always been a hookah lounge. So I said, oh, all right, it must have closed or so. So I said, okay, let me go home. So I went to, I was going to go down Houston Street, but I made a right on First Street in Manhattan. So it was First Avenue and First Street, which Kramer in Seinfeld would said, the nexus of the world. Okay, so I made a right on First Street and I started walking, and all of a sudden, behold, it's there, the Kava place, Kava Sutra. Maybe I shouldn't say the name. Okay, that's not the name of the place, but it's a Kava place, okay? I couldn't believe it, so I said, I gotta go in, yeah. So there's a couple of people outside smoking cigarettes, you know, I figure it's health, people are healthy. I'm gonna, you know, okay, I won't mention that because I don't get in trouble. But so I go in, and nice looking young bartender, and you know, it was, you know, so I say, mix me up a Kava, and the prices were kind of high, you know, but I said, yeah, let me try this, you know, see what it is, and so she said, well, try the $25 one. I said, well, let me see what it's like first. But, you know, again, this Kava apparently has a strange effect as a drug. It has what's called reverse tolerance, which means that what happens is that as you take it, you need less and less to get the desired effect, where most drugs have the opposite effect. The more you take it, the more and more you need. So I took it, and you know, it's like, well, I mean, it's interesting. If it had a numbing effect like cocaine, and you know, it felt, you know, nice, you know, kind of like an alcohol. It's a weird kind of high. It's hard to describe. Relaxed, and all of a sudden I'm buying it left and right. And so I become very talkative. I'm having a very nice time, and so she said at first that it helps with anxiety and depression as kind of the selling point. So I said to her, you know, I just had a blue. I said, maybe anxiety and depression aren't such a bad thing. And so then we got a kind of a deep conversation. I was saying, you know, anxiety and depression are things that evolution put it there for a reason. You know, you think, you know, anxiety, if you're crossing Queens Boulevard, it's good to have anxiety. Imagine you didn't get killed, you know. And I talked about depression in terms of maybe it's something that stops you from doing something that's not good for you, you know, in the long run. You know, maybe pursuing a goal it's not winnable. You know, you're pursuing, you know. So what does evolution do? It makes you have these bad feelings, puts you in bed. You don't want to come out of bed, you know. And, you know, so, you know, it went on, you know, a very nice conversation, and, you know, I was flirting with this 20-year-old girl and boyfriend, and you know, saying, hey, you know, why don't you marry a cute girl? And you know, we're having a nice time, and so finally I said to him, I tried this other thing, kratom, and it's supposed to be like a painkiller, like an opiate. That didn't react so well with me, so like I would say I had a lot of this Kava, and I had 2 things of kratom, and I was like wasted at this point. So finally I popped the word. I said, yeah, maybe we could talk, you know, more about this, you know, go out one night. And she goes, oh, well, my boyfriend wouldn't like that. Of course, it's incel. We'll never win. So, but then she gave me at the end of the night a marijuana candy. So I took that, and it didn't do much. I guess it was such a small piece that it wasn't. I don't know. It was good in a way. I didn't take too much of that, but so you know, the king is. You know, so the king was so wasted. He said, I better get a cab home. So I took a cab, and who the heck knows how much it cost him. It was a very expensive night downtown, but I had a lot of fun, you know, and met some people. Now I know a place to go to get this Kava, and it's quite a drink, you know. I mean, I was having a blast, you know. It's expensive though, you know. So I kind of know that, you know, maybe they have this one you take first, $25, then maybe hit 1 or 2 of the cheaper ones, and then but you're not going to get out of there with like $50, you know. And so, you know, I had a very nice time, you know. So you know, it's some of the things that happened to me. So, but you see the East Village is interesting, and kind of observe. You see the same people. It's just 20, 30 years later, the same people. I saw some guy, a tall guy. He's working with his girlfriend. I guess the girlfriend had like green hair, and he was wearing like this long dress. So, yeah, that's okay. Listen, I think it's fine. Not a bigot, nothing against it. You wear the dress. It's an open society. You gotta be tolerant these days. You can't judge people. You can't judge them for wearing a dress. I mean, it's a fashion statement, I guess. It's. I mean, am I the only one that thought it was weird? Maybe. I'm born with more traditional values. I don't see men wearing long dresses often. He was very tall, actually, like 6'4", maybe. He had his hair all blonde and his all puffed up, and he had, and the girlfriend had like the green hair, and I guess they were, they were made for each other. So, all right. So this is podcast number 40. And this is the king of all mediums. So tomorrow we'll come with the podcast 41, and we'll have so have a compact disc night, and and Wednesday, of course, no podcast, and I will see you then. Have a great evening, and remember, it was a beautiful day. It's the only one you have, so make the most of it. Take care.